And here I am. I'm so digging my new entrance. The countdown. I'm loving it. Let me fix my scarf. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. I'm checking the comments and looking at you right there through the camera and saying hello to everybody. It is Wednesday, July 28th. And we are live from beadshop.com. I'm Kate Richburg, and it's great to have you all here for this tubular herringbone, or as we also know, the end-of-belly stitch that was started here at Beadshop by our beloved Emily Miller in a seed bead school, but I thought it was time to revisit it. So I've got a couple housekeeping things that I just wanted to jump in and let you guys know. Of course, our Gita from across the miles in Denmark is moderating over on our on our Facebook area. And Drea is in for Janice today. Janice had a few errands that she had to run. So she is out today, but Drea is in. So it's great to see you all here. We've got so much to cover today. It's really, it's going to be a busy day around here for this show. Let me get a bit of coffee here. Little pick me up. But I wanted to start this off. Some of you, I don't know if you follow my social or whatever, but I wrote a little thing on social this morning that I think is, it's pertinent to what we do here, you and I, us and all y'all, when we're creatives. And so I don't know if you watch the Olympics, if you're watching the Olympics, it's kind of a crazy pandemic Olympics, and, that has its issues, but everything seems to be going pretty well, knock wood. And so you may have seen the U.S. women's gymnastics team, and they've been competing. And Ms. Simone Biles is known as the greatest of all time, and she and the team went over and did all of this great stuff. Well, yesterday when we were watching the Olympics, we saw that Simone Biles pulled out of competition, right? And it had been hyped up as this big thing, like, oh my gosh, she dropped out of the competition and everything. So Chris and I were ready to see, like, oh my God, what happened, right? And we saw her start, and then we saw her struggle, and then we saw her drop out, and then we saw her support her team, right? So I just want to say on the record, I like to be truthful. I like to be clear with all y'all. I was freaked out a little bit when I saw that she dropped out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how's the team ever going to win without her and all this stuff? Well, you know what? Those women pulled together as a team. And when one is struggling, and that one happened to be the name brand, right? The big one, right? She listened to her heart. She stepped out. She knew that probably the team wouldn't have meddled with her on the program. She let her team members lift her up, step in. They stepped in. They lifted themselves up, and they won a silver medal. Those three ladies that were in there had never been to the Olympics before, right? Been in other competitions, but not at the Olympics, right? Simone knew that she had to quit, quote unquote, step back so she wouldn't injure herself. So she gave her team a better chance. And, I think of that, and I've been thinking of it since I saw it, from yesterday to this morning. I do my best thinking in the shower. And I thought, it's kind of like what we do in our daily lives. We always say that, people on social media and people like you meet on the street or whatever, or like I say it in the grocery store or whatever, that we're all in this together. Well, that thing that happened yesterday during the Olympics proved, they didn't just say it, they proved it, that they were all in that together. And I feel like we've been doing this here at Beadshop, or whatever creative thing you guys watch, right? There are a lot of streamers in our world that we all know each other. We're all friends. We've really been pulling together, all in this together, to share that creativity, doing these unprecedented times, right? So if we really do say that we are all in this together and that, you know, teamwork makes the dream work or whatever, you know, all of those old adages that kind of drive me crazy, however those go, that we really are all in this together. And so kudos to the U.S. team. Kudos to those women who stepped up to the plate, who listened to their heads and their hearts. And congratulations. And congratulations to you sitting right out there for, you know, continuing your creative journey in these times that are difficult. Sometimes we want to sit down and sometimes we don't want to get back up, but we're getting back up every day. And whether that's getting back up by resting, getting back up and moving forward, whatever it is. But anyway, I just sermon over. Can I get an amen out there? Anyway, so I just wanted to share that. It really moved me, and I just wanted to share that with you. So I am picking up in response to team, right? Because teamwork does make the dream work here at Beadshop. I am passing the baton that Emily started with this Endobelly Tubular Herringbone Stitch. And we're going to be playing around with that. So, but I wanted to say we are starting a new thing today here on the live broadcast. And we are doing a live giveaway. If you watched my practice piece yesterday, my little practice live when I checked the giveaway tool, which I'm hoping still works today, we're going to be doing a giveaway, and some of you may have seen it in our newsletter if you get the newsletter. So let's get back to business and say, let me give you some of the particulars, and I'll tell you that, of course, you can find us on all of our socials. So wherever you're watching us today, you will be able to enter that giveaway. You can follow us at beadshop.com on Insta. We don't stream to Instagram yet, but you never know if their API changes someday. We'll be able to add that into our stream. The Bead Table group, if you are there watching on the Bead Table, thank you so much, or our Beadshop Facebook page. Or, of course, you can like and subscribe us right on our beadshop.com YouTube channel. Okay, and so let me share, let me take that off and share with you. So today we've got a giveaway. And I'm going to do it at the end of the broadcast, so you have to stick around. It's my little way of making you stay to the end. But I don't know if you saw in the newsletter, but do you remember this pumpkin spice kit that I made a while back? I think it was in November of 2020, and it's a mix. It's a bead mix. It's actually not a kit because you can use it to make just about anything you want. But it has all of these beautiful strands of check glass, and it comes in this beautiful organza bag, and it has this charming little button to it, right? Well, I've stashed a few kit or mixes and stuff away, so I pulled this one out for today's giveaway. So the way it's going to go is you are, when I tell you to, at the end of the broadcast, I'm going to give you a hashtag phrase to put into the comments. You're going to put those comments, put that in the comments, and then everyone who comments, I'm going to draw live on air, and we will, that person will win, okay? So I wanted to let you know, and you can do that kind of now as you're doing this, before you leave a comment, if you're watching, and this only applies, there's a couple of caveats, okay? This only applies, and you're going to get used to this as we do this more and more, okay? This only applies to the live broadcasts, okay? And before you leave a comment, if you're watching in our Facebook group, The Bead Table, it's fine if you're on the page. If you're on YouTube, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're watching and commenting in our group, The Bead Table, on Facebook, you need to grant StreamYard, which is our streaming platform, permission to see your name. And you do that at StreamYard.com/Facebook. And that is because groups are private, right? So they don't show private group info in a public forum like this is. So you have to grant permission. If you don't want to grant them permission, then go watch it on a different platform. Go to our YouTube channel, go to our Facebook page, and that's fine there. Okay. So, and I wanted to say that giveaway entries are accepted on this live broadcast on 7/28/21 today only for this live giveaway. Okay. And what you'll see when you go over to that StreamYard, you'll see this page and you'll just click Let StreamYard see your Facebook Live comments and you will be good to go. Because if you don't, you can just see right there how it says Facebook user. We won't see your face nor your name. So we won't know that it's you who won. Okay, so I'll give you that code a little bit later in the broadcast. So when I tell you to enter that hashtag, you'll do that in the comments, but not until then because you don't know what it is yet, right? So let me go through these comments and say, see what we've got. Let's see. Yes, the end-of-belly African beading, Paulette. We here have kind of our name. Some people call it tubular herringbone, but it is that end-of-belly stitch, which has such a rich heritage behind it. And so this is our interpretation of it. You know, one of my favorite books that I have in my stash, jewelry stash. It's a book, and if you haven't looked at it, or maybe your library has it, I don't know if it's still in print. It's called Africa Adorned, and Africa Adorned has just beautiful examples of traditional from the continent of Africa beadwork. And I got it very early on. We used to sell it at Beadshop. I got mine in '92. Okay, and so I have mine on my shelf that I sometimes look at and dream about beads and think about, you know, those patterns and stuff. It's pretty amazing. So that's a great reference for African beadwork if that's something that excites your imagination. What I am wearing today is also an homage to some native beadwork. I got these in Mexico. And these are an example, and I'll move the camera so you can see this. And I'll answer your StreamYard questions at the end, but just real quick, StreamYard, no matter how many times you enter the hashtag, StreamYard only enters you once. Okay, so you can put the hashtag comment in like 50 times, you're only going to get that one entrance. Okay, so anyway, okay. So let me show you these earrings. Before we get to, let me make this big and this over there. There we go. These I bought. These are a traditional huichol pattern. I bought them the last time I was in Mexico. And so this is a beautiful example of huichol beading that I think is so beautiful. The colors are so beautiful. It's so inspiring. And so I thought I'd wear them today as an homage to seed beadwork. Seed beadwork has been going on for, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's all so inspiring. But I love to credit where credit is due, and it is, these are so beautiful from in the huichol bead tradition. I love them. So I'm going to put it back on my ear, and let's get to beading. Okay, and someone just asked about the StreamYard. You guys will get it. I can't see your name. You can see. Kate, can I see your name? I tried signing up for StreamYard, but I really don't know if it worked. Just click over to that StreamYard.com/Facebook, and you should be able to grant that permission. Okay, and you've got the whole show to do that. And there's Sabrina. Sabrina was our winner yesterday. Sabrina, I'm going to send out that soft flex to you this afternoon. All right. So let me just highlight this. And let me show you a few of, let me put this delicious little beauty. And Drea is also saying the link for the StreamYard access was in this morning's newsletter, so you can go to your newsletter and okay, and do it there if you'd like. So here's Emily's pieces that she created for us a while back. And gosh, it was, I don't know how long ago this was. It was when Emily was doing her regular live broadcast with us. And I missed that. We'll have Emily back. She's a busy lady making jewelry and just doing so well. It's just great to see her excel so much with her beautiful jewelry designs. And you can find Emily on Insta is a great place. I think it's Emily Miller Designs, or if you look up Emily B. Miller, I think you'll find her. But this was the original, the tubular herringbone, as I'm calling it today, though you'll also know it as the Indibelli stitch. So this tubular herringbone, you can see Emily did this with one of our monthly mixes. I think this is called Candy Floss, I think is the title of this. And the monthly mix had all of these kind of great sherbet colors to it, right? And this was April 2018, so it's been a while, right? And so this right here, she did the herringbone in the different color ways. She also did this one. This one's a little more subtle, and you can see it's a different pattern. It just depends on, it's the same beads. It just depends on the pattern. So instead of doing chunks of pattern this way along it, she did rounds of pattern. So the pattern runs this way. Same bead colors, just applied a little bit differently. So it's beautiful. And then this one, this is the green piece that Emily did. And Drea, I know you're going to remind me of the name of the project. Mine is called Into the East. And this is Emily's piece. And so there's a big difference between, not a big difference, but there is a difference between what Emily did here and what I did. And one of them, and you know me, some of these projects that I've done have like just a forever life. It feels like I keep going back to them, but that's okay. It's always good to have things to work on. Let me get in a little bit closer. So here's Emily's piece here, this one, and she's used 11/0 here, and notice how she's just done 1, 2, 3, 4 rows here of the herringbone. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but I did. So mine is a lot thicker. So can you see there's 2, 4, 6, there's 4 rows and 8 beads. Emily has 2 rows and 2 and 4 beads going around. Okay, so Emily's is actually, mine is double what Emily made there. So if you want to attempt this and you don't want one that's like, will take you until the end of time, you might want to try it in a smaller version, the one that Emily did. I'm going to show you the 4 version today because that's what I have here that you can look at. But I also went and then I did this little section since I had the 8 rows, the 4 rows around, the 8 beads around. I split those off. Can you see that there, right here? And I just kind of worked those each in turn and then came back here and then added them back together over there. Okay, so let me just start. Okay, Emily's episode notes, and I went over the episode notes. This project is called Into the Woods, the one that Emily did. Okay, and it's just gorgeous. And you can see she did little, bits and pieces of hanging down here on these loops. It's really beautiful. But she does a great job. That's when we were doing episode notes for every episode, and I'm sure that Drea is thankful that she doesn't write a term paper every week on this episode. But the episode notes for this, for Into the Woods, are excellent. Okay, so you can jump in grab those episode notes, download them, and follow them, and you can watch Emily's original broadcast. But I want to show you how to start this herringbone weave. Okay, because it's really versatile, really, really versatile. And it's something, you know, we've talked about this time and time again over these past like 18 months or however long we've been living with this kind of in this pandemic state. That it really is something that keeps your hands busy, right? It keeps me, so I keep this. I have a rotation of about 5 projects by my chair. Some of them are knitting. Some are these, some of them are beadwork, you know, one of them is a book. So I can kind of bounce back and forth between different projects that are sitting at my chair. Okay. So I'm going to wax this thread. I know it's the great debate of to wax or not wax. I'm going to wax today. I'm going to get my little strawberry that Emily made for me and get my size 10 sharps needle. You know that's my favorite. Let me get Emily's beautiful piece out of the shot. And I'm going to start with A-dots because it'll be easier for you all to see. I'm going to start with these watermelon ones. These are ones left over from that festival wrap. I think they're still knocking around on my bead desk, so I'm just going to use these. And I'm going to use a couple of different colors so you can see the change. Now, I hope that I don't pull another brain freeze, but I think because I haven't done this, I haven't started one for a while, but I think I know what I'm doing. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to put the first rows on in groups of 4, okay? And these are going to be the first rows. Okay, and so let me put it here. Let me get a little closer. So the way that you start, I've just cut an arbitrary length of this thread. I don't know, and I'm using KO. In my project, I use Fireline, but either will work. So now I'm going to start with these burgundy colored beads, and I'm going to put them on my needle. Let me lift this up just a little bit here. Okay, and I'm going to pull it through just so I've got a little bit of a tail. I'm not going to worry about it too much because this is just a practice piece. And, you know, something else I wanted to mention to our practice pieces and practicing. One of the things that we saw those Olympic women do yesterday was warm up, right? Practice. Same thing with your beadwork, right? Sometimes you just need a warm up, right? So that so your fingers are nimble, so you know what you're doing, all of that, okay? So those 4, let me see if I can get it to focus, there we go. Those 4 just came in, and I put my needle around, and I just went through, okay? So now I'm going to put 4 more in this other color. This is kind of my next section, okay? Actually, I'm going to put on, sorry, not 4. I start with 4, and I'm going to put on 2, okay? Because can you see how that's the next one? Okay, so see where my thread is coming out at the bottom? So I'm going to make that circle come in at the top. And you don't really have a top or bottom yet to this piece, okay? You don't need to worry about that really. So there's this one. And now I'm going to go up my cord. I'll put on 2 more of these beauties in the same circle direction that my thread is going. And see how the thread is here, so I'm going to bring it back here. And I'm going to get my fingers out of the way and show you what I've got here. So can you see how I have 4 little sections of 2 beads, right? And so that, if you're making like the 4-sided one that Emily did here, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, then yours would start this way, if you start on like the one that I did and do 4 more, we'd put another red one and another watermelon colored one. Okay, you'll see me do that when I pick up mine, but I just wanted to be really really quick with this. Okay, and so now what you can do, did you see over here earlier how this kind of pulled out like this, right? It was a little loose. You can go back through if you want to and kind of, what I want to say, reinforce this, but I don't think we'll need to, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this in half and connect it and see here how I just bring my needle up. So I'm still going in the direction of the thread. I'm ignoring this tail down here, right? And there we have it. And then I'm going to go down to connect them. Okay, so it's a full stitch. All right. So now, in every other round of tubular herringbone, we're going to add, and I'm going to pop up here. I just want to pop up to like a starting point. So I'm going to go here. Every round that I pick up, except for this one, is going to be 2 beads. Okay. This one though is just going to be a single bead because I need to build it up just a little bit. And just watch what I do here, right? So here's that one in pattern. There's the watermelon colored one. There's the burgundy one. And I come down and I go down 2 beads. Okay. And as I pull, that little bead is going to sit right on top. See that? Turn. And we're going to do the same thing on this side, but this time we're going to first pick up our burgundy and then pick up our watermelon and go through. Now this is called, so we've done our next one. And if they are not cooperating, you're the boss of these beads. Any seed bead stitch, right, is kind of a, oh, you know, somehow, oh well, somehow I got it wrong. Let me take that off. I think I was so busy talking, I didn't come back up to the starting point, so let me do that. Get that on there. Needle the thread. Don't thread the needle, as Emily says, but let's do it with a nice, there we go. Let me get a little closer to my eyes so I can see it. A nice blunt cut. There we go. So your needle, what I did was I didn't bring my needle back up to the right position because I was too busy talking about the colors. So here's this. Okay. So my needle is coming down here, right? So I come through, I've got to go over 1 row and up. And download those episode notes from Emily's Into the Woods episode. It's really, Drea laid it out so neatly. Okay, so now I've got those single ones. You can see it's in pattern. I'm going to lift my camera up just a little bit there, and I can raise my hands a little bit so you can see this. There we go. And I'm going to go down both. Now, this is what's called, there we go. This is the step up here. See that? How they're all even now. And I've got 3 beads per row. So I'm going to come up here. This is where I've stepped up. Now I'm going to put on the 4 beads, the 2 and 2. And this is how I'm going to go on from here, right? 2 watermelon, 2 burgundy, through that bead, the one next to where the thread is coming up, and down 2 beads, okay? So it's always 2, okay? With end to belly. So here's this, okay? So those 2 are on. Now I turn it, and I just match. The first one in the row is the burgundy, so I'm going to put on 2 of those. The second is the watermelon, 2 and 2. Go through the bead hole, 2 of them. Pop them into place there. Sorry, this is caught again. I'm trying to be so good so you guys can see it. But I got tangled. If you get tangled, it's all right. Just take it out. Isn't starting just a bummer? There we go. But once it's established and you have something to hang on to. So here's where my thread came out. I need to pop it over, put it up through so it's at the starting point. Now, my 2 in the burgundy and 2 of the watermelon. Now I turn. And I know it can get a little confusing for sure because you're working like with all of these beads and you're going, what? Okay, so now I'm going to come up. So once you have everything even, see that? They're all even. Shelly is saying she's never added 2 pairs at once. I learned this from Emily, and Emily was a 2-pair adding gal. So if we just wanted to do 1, let me just do 1. Here, I'll put on the 1, put on the 1, go down 2 beads, go up 2 beads, and add the 1, 1 and 1. Okay, down 2 beads, and we're right back where we started, like so. Okay, bring it up. Now on some of mine, and you'll see this when I do these fancy pieces, I do add them a single bead at a time, and I'll show you because I'm at a place where I want to do that. Okay, so let me do this double again, 2 and 2 and through and up the stack. And if you're not sure where to put your needle in, see how I draw the thread to the side like this? Okay, and I can pull it through. And as I say, download, I know it's kind of, there's like 2 beads, 1 beads, this row, that row. But the episode notes on Emily's broadcast that she did they're really excellent, an excellent learning tool. Okay, so see how it goes through there all the way? Okay. And yeah, Emily does have a thread path diagram for hers in that episode note. Try to keep your thread from tangling. There we go. Nope, see what happens? You try and walk it back, and that never works. Take off your needle, pull out the thread. Okay, so let me get over to mine that I'm working. So this is the 2, right? So this is with 4 beads, and you can easily see that on this side. Okay, so this is the tubular herringbone or the endobelly with the 4 beads. Now what I did was I have the 8 beads, and so here is mine. And I'm going to get this to the side. And you'll see this. I want to go over this so I can show you. Once you have it all established, see how here's my 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one just has the 2. Okay. So, and Audrey is saying that you go down by the number. This is a really good question. I don't know, Audrey, what that rule of thumb is. I mean, I learned this from Emily, and we were kind of going back and forth between adding 2 and adding 1. I add 2 when I'm just doing like a stretch of plain, and then I'll add 1 when I'm doing something a little fancy here, right? So I always go down 2 beads. That's my rule of thumb. And then come up. And you need to add the same amount of beads on all 4 or all 2 of your little ends here, right? So I think that's what you want to do. Okay, and then it doesn't really matter, right? You work this how you want to do it. And Shelley is saying here, and I think she said, oh, thank you, Drea. When am I not doing something a little fancy? And then, yeah, with the step up. So you go down the number of beads in the first pair, and that puts you in position to go straight across to the next pair. And then Monica has said, and when you do the step up, you go all the way through to the step up. Okay, so you'll see it. So just, and Shelley, we're not going to talk about twist. I'm going to have to lie down if we have to talk about that. But see this section right here? And I've started to do this. The way I've been creating this as I've designed, right, is I've just been kind of doing what feels natural with the beads as I go along. So I started with just this plain, just the 11/0, right? And I think on air, Emily and I wanted to talk about, oh, what if you use delicas? So I used some delicas, right? And then I thought, oh, what if I use my favorite bead in the whole wide world, the little shadows? So I did a couple of rows of those. And then I thought, oh, what would it look like striped, right? And then I was like, okay, what if I use these big Miyuki pearls? So if it doesn't work out, you can always rip back a little bit. And that's probably why this has also taken me a while, is that I've ripped this back a little bit, just a few rows or whatever, but just to experiment how things look. And since this is that 8 bead 4-strand, you can see it's a little, I guess, floppier is kind of the word, right? Because it's a tube on the inside. So I started making, these felt like little crowns to me, or something that was fancy, right? And so because they look like beads that are strung on here. So I'll show you how I make these, because it's time to start another one of these. But first, you can see I've got no thread here. So I'm going to add some thread. And I know that adding and taking away thread sometimes strikes fear in the heart of you all, but just kind of go with it. The way you add and take away thread is pretty much the same in every seed bead project, right? You've got to, what I do is I weave the old thread, I weave the new thread in, and then I weave the old thread out, okay? So, and don't be too rough, listen to Simone. Don't be too rough on yourself on this. I mean, I don't know if I explained this in the most straightforward way today, getting this on, but do just a little practice piece like this, right? Warm up on the beam here with this one until you get this right, and then translate this muscle memory into a piece like this, right? And then keep it by your chair and work on it, just that's how, people get hand quilting done or other things done too, right? You work at it just a little bit at a time, okay? So I'm just going to arbitrarily pick a place to dunk my needle in, okay? So I'm going to put my needle right here. and I'm going to go up 2 beads, and I'm going to pull so I've got a little bit of a tail to hang on to put under my thumb right there. And I know it's hard to see. I'm using this smoke thread, but you can see the needle path. I'm going to go down the 2 threads that are next to it. See that? And I'm just going to form a square. I'm going to do the box step with these, right? Anyone else have to box step in 6th grade? The horror of horrors, right? Okay, so here we go. And down. So now my thread is pretty much locked in. So what I'm going to do is my thread is going to go on a little journey until, where's my thread coming out of? It needs to come out actually of right here, because see, this is what I would have done if my next stitch, if I was setting up my next stitch, is that this needle would come up and then I'd be ready to do my next row. So that's why I don't take off the old thread. I add the new thread first. So I think what I can do here is I'm going to actually go up this next one. No, I'm not. Nope. I'm going to go up this one that's next to it. I don't need to make it that far. And see, I'm actually stitching in the opposite direction, but it doesn't matter, right? I'm going to go across. This is where my needle, my thread would have come out originally. So I'm going to go here. There we are. It's kind of pulling it together a little bit early, but it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. And now I'm going to cut away this. Well, I'm not going to cut it away yet. Those bead holes seem a little full, so I'm going to take it over here. And I'll take it down into this bead. Okay, like that. And over here. And I'm going to take it like way down here. Doesn't matter, right? And your hands will just, there's no real right or wrong, right? Everybody does these stitches a little bit differently, right? They put their needle in a little bit differently. It's like people when they crochet. They crochet a little bit differently. Your tension is a little bit different. That's all right. So see, now I cut that away. So that one's gone. Let's take this one. This is the tail of the new thread. Let's get rid of that. Okay? And let's put this thread, make sure it's in position. Okay? And actually, it should be coming out this one. I'm like, oh, wonderful, right? So that's okay. No big deal, right? Because this needs to be my starting thread. So that's all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down this one. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to bump that. Up this one. Because we always start, in this case, we start, if the little 2 towers are here, I start on the right-hand tower and then go up the right-hand tower and down the left-hand tower, if that makes sense. But just getting your needle into the right position sometimes can be a little challenging. But it's okay. Just take a deep breath and stitch your way to where you need to be. Okay, that's it. So now we are really in starting position. Can you see that? So I'm just going to take my my pattern from this bead below. So let's take a look. I've done 4 beads, or 4 rows, we'll say, of this 11-aught that are between kind of these like little crown beads that I've made. So my next color is this one. And I'm sorry, I can't remember what the name of it is, but the number is the 11-152 FR. So it's a matte. FR is a matte AB here. Okay, so I'm going to pull those out. Whoa, 11-aughts. Whoa, there's still some in the lid. Hang on. Come back here. There we go. And I'm going to need some little shadows. I've got some of those bad boys right here. And there's a list. I called this one Into the East, and there is a vague materials list. There's still some components that I haven't put into this piece yet, but I will eventually. I've got this guy that I'm going to add. Whoops, this guy there. Matte Transparent Gray AB. Yes, thank you, everyone. I used some of these circles of bronze, so you can see that. Those are connecting right there. Emily shows how to connect those in her broadcast. It was very good. I used these guys here, this 8-2031, these greens. These, Drea, may not be on the list. I think I had these at home and I added them. So we may want to add them to that project. But also, this is a perfect one for you just to do you, right? Who cares? You decide what you like and you do it, right? You don't have to have exactly what I have. This is a great stash diver, right? Diving into your stash and using up what you have. I do like that these are all kind of tonal with like pops of color like this green. Oh, Drea missed the number. I'll tell her. It is 8-2031 is this one in an 8-aught. I just love it. It's so delish. So I think that's everything I used. So let me just do this single row. Okay, this is a single here. So I'm going to get these two here. I'm going to go put the two on. I'm going to go down two. There it is. Across to the next leg. If I went down two, I need to go up two for this row, unless it's a step up row. Put on two more of these 11-aughts. Boy, these are small. After working with the 8s. There we go. I'm going to try and stay in frame. Sorry about that. There we go. Sitting atop right there. Turn. So I've put those on, gone down two. Now I'm going to go up two on this leg. Put on my row. And down the two. And then the last one. See, it takes double the time, right? Because I have 4 little legs up in the air instead of 2. Oy. But it'll all be worthwhile. Now you'll see the step up. You'll really be able to see this step, okay? Because those are the first 2 that I've put on, right? So instead of going down 2 and up 2, I have to go down 2, across, up the original 2 that were on there, and then up 1 more, that new one that I put on. Let me raise this camera a little bit. This camera, I think, is too good. It wants to keep focusing all the time. Okay, so there we go. So now I look at my bead before and I go, all right, now that's time for little shadows. So the little shadows are a little bit of a larger bead than I was using. Okay, so it doesn't matter. I've come up, I've put on my 2, I'll go down the 2, and I just kind of give them a little tap, and you can see how they just kind of sit there, right? Don't worry about it. Tap them into place, move along. Nothing to see here. Move along. Let me put these on this side so I don't keep reaching across. Sometimes you have to look like, see that little shadow? You can't see it really, but it's a little small. So I'm going to toss it away and grab another one. Whoops, I've got to get my needle up into position. I do that all the time when I'm doing the stitch, not only when I'm demonstrating it, but you've got to bring your needle up into position. There we go. Now, put on your beads. And down. Okay. And yes, that's exactly right. Once you get into the groove on the stitch, you are pretty much good to go, and it grows pretty quickly. So see, I want to kind of turn these a little bit. Emily's Emily kind of magically makes hers go into the right place, but you want those little holes sitting up. Okay, so now I'll turn, come down the 2, go up the 2, the little shadows, down the 2, across, up the 2, and the last round of little shadows and down. Okay, so now with this one, it's really easy to see the step up because the top bead is the little shadow. So I bring it across and it goes up 1 and 2 and 3. So now next is the green. So let's do 2 of those. I'm going to go a little more at Kate's bead here. And see, I just go down the little shadow and down the 11-aught. See that there? It doesn't matter that they're all different size beads. Makes no difference in the least. Sometimes, though, I have trouble getting my needle in there, so see how I had to help it along with my left hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm stitching with my right hand, and my left hand is keeping everything together. At least that's the idea. There we go. Give them a tap. Move it across. Bring it up. When all of the beads are the same size, it's a little bit easier to get your needle up there, but that's okay. Here. And down. And then we're going to go. The longer it gets, since it's not in my lap, it's laying on the desk, the length gets twisty. So I have to pick it up and then twist it because it's a little difficult to maneuver. All right, so let's add this big one, the center, the big shadow, I think, is next. So I'll come up, go across the original 2, 1 and 2, and up through that 8-aught. Okay, there we go. All right. So when you add, so I want to show you the difference here. Okay, see how I went from that small shadow, the little shadow, to this really big, relatively big Miyuki. Okay, and see how it sits. I'll show you. These beads are sitting a little weirdly around the equator here, right? And it's because the tension's a little funny because this bead and this bead are such different sizes, if that makes sense. So that's why I started doing these, because it is a more gradual taper, so things lay a little bit nicer. Okay, but I did that over here and it was fine, right? It's okay. They look a little wonky. What Emily did was in hers, she found a round bead, like maybe a 6mm or an 8mm, and she popped it inside. So it pops these large beads out. And you'll see her do that on her broadcast. But I have a bead inside of this one that's helping hold this out a lot more nicely. This one doesn't have a bead inside, so it's a little wonkier, if that's the right thing to say. So, okay, so the green is done. I'm glad you like the green. I like it too. It's striking, I think. So let's add the big shadow, or the regular size shadow. It's not a big shadow. So here I've come up, I put 2 on, and I go back down 2. Whoops. Hopefully I'm not too tangled. Okay, there we go. Where's my thread? So see how my thread is coming out of the little shadow there? So it's going to go up the little shadow here. 2 regular shadows, 1 and 2. and down. These could also be 6/0 you could use instead if you didn't want metal. Of course, these could all be seed beads. So you could do 11s, 8s, and 6s that would look gorgeous. Emily also did in hers, she added cubes. I have cubes, I think, on my list, but I haven't incorporated them yet, but I will. So it's coming out of the shadow, the little shadow, up the little shadow, and 2 on. And see, this is a little floppy here, but don't worry about it too much. Okay, it's gonna all straighten out as you continue down the path of the tubular herringbone. So here's what we've got here. Okay, so I'm going to come up. You'll see the step up. I'll go through once and twice. And if you'll notice, it really did not matter which, like I didn't have, like, what am I trying to say? When you add your thread, you don't have to worry about, oh, which is the step up row, like way back here, right? Just make a new, you'll make a new step up row as you bring your thread up, right? There's no real rule for that. Oh, here's a bad looking 8/0. It gets rejected and a new set is put on. Sally just asked how triangles would work. I think they'd work. I haven't tried it yet. Let me show you in Emily's. I want to show you the cubes, and you'll see kind of how those fit. So we're almost done with this little beaded bead here. This would make a really fantastic earring. Whoops. See, I'm chatting, I'm not paying attention. I put the beads on in the wrong place. No surprise there. Take them off. Put this back on. As I mentioned, I'm using Fireline for this. I like the Fireline because I'm using, though I can't see it at all. It's not in my sight line. Needle the thread, take a moment, needle the thread, there we go. Put the thread in the right position and grab my beads. There we are. A little bit of self-coaching. I like this Fireline because I am using a whole bunch of metal beads here. So here's the step up. I'm at the step up already. So I go little shadow and down. I think if I were doing this with earrings, I don't know, I might just like bead a little small section and then maybe try and do like a little seed beaded loop or maybe little tassels from the ends of these, kind of like Emily's lantern piece that she did, but instead, whoops, I'm not paying attention. Sorry about that, everybody. Let me put these big shadows over there and put these little shadows where I can see them. There we go. But as I said, that lantern earring, she created in Brick Stitch in 3 different segments. You could just do something kind of similar all in one here. There we go. And across, we're going in through that big shadow now, or it's the regular shadow, but I'm calling it big because it's bigger than the other one. And we carry these shadow beads. You know this by now if you're a Beadshop longtime watcher. It's one of my favorite beads that we carry. These are the natural brass, so they're not plated, they're not coated. Sometimes you have to look through them, though. 2 of those I'm going to reject because they looked a little sharp. But this is the natural brass, and I love working with brass in my jewelry. Okay, so we're on the very last row of these 11/0. And Pam's asking, does Fireline stretch over time? You know, Pam, we have quite a few pieces here that Emily has made using Fireline. I have a few in my stash that I've made using Fireline, and I have not had an issue with it stretching. they're all hanging on the wall, so gravity is kind of doing their thing with them. So I have not had that issue. Fireline is a bonded thread rather than a twisted thread, so I think that also helps it not to stretch. But I would use KO or Hana or Fireline. But since this has so many metal beads in it, Fireline was my bead of choice. Fireline's also a little wiry, so in this particular, sometimes I don't like it for what I'm doing because I feel it stiffens the piece too much. But since this is going to be a long rope of a necklace, at least that's what I'm assuming if I finish it in this lifetime, I like the stability that it gives. Okay, so you can see here that there are 3 of those in the row, okay, like so. And I think I might do a series of 5 there, okay. And yeah, I agree. Someone also commented that the Fireline doesn't work as well for fringe or for dangles, especially if you want that hand of the thread to be really, really supple. So just, choose your thread accordingly to the outcome of what you want. There's no real right or wrong answer, right? You ask beaders, what it is they use and their methods and whatever, and for each beader you ask, you'll get a different question. So that means that there is more than one way to do something. So you can see what I've got here, and I'll kind of talk you through this end. What I did here was, I started it here and then went through. Since this is 4 sets or 8 beads around, I could split these up, right? So essentially what I did when I split was I took one of these sections here and one of these sections here and stitched up, right? So I just split it. I didn't do anything fancier than that. Okay, and then when I brought them back together, I just took those parts. What I did on this side, though I could have just put them together side by side and stitched them up, but I wanted to have those rings inside. So Emily shows how to do this. Essentially, you go from doing the tubular herringbone in the round to doing it flat, and you just make a flat strip and then weave it back inside right here. Okay, and so you see that in Emily's instructions. So I wanted to kind of put that connection here. If I had to go back and do this over, because they're hitting each other side by side and I don't love it, is I would have kind of displaced and had one of these rings a little bit lower and one a little bit higher, but they're okay. They just kind of make a unit. They sit together like that. You can see here in this one, I just put a ring on one side and didn't put a ring on the other. You can see I striped this side and I did the little shadows on this side. Oh, thanks you guys. I'm glad you like this piece. Again, it is truly a string of consciousness, right? Just do what you feel like doing. You can see here, I wanted to see how the Endebelly did with all the little shadows. So I did this section right here, right? So that's it. That's how it comes together. And again, you can, there was a question that was asked, Beth asked that she's never done tubular herringbone. Do you normally go down the one bead? Shelley was saying that she may go down just the one. I find that I like to go down the 2. It helps a little bit with the tension and the hand or the heft of this piece. But try it out, right? Make that do that warm up on the balance beam right here. And you can try out and see what works for you. Okay. So that's that. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, but let me jump in and tell you that it's going to be time for our giveaway very shortly. Okay, and you guys are going to get used to this as we do this more and more. And I'll go back to this piece again in just a second because I want to show you Emily's, but it'll give you guys time to enter the giveaway. So when you jump in and enter the giveaway, let me get my banners up. Remember that the giveaway entries are accepted on this live broadcast, 7/28/21. So if you enter the hashtag and the phrase, if you're watching this on replay, you'll just enter it and you won't be entered, right? And you'll see as you watch the end, you'll see we'll pick a winner and then it'll be done. So if you're watching this on replay, don't enter because you're not going to win. Watch us another live and you'll be able to do that, okay? So, remember, giveaway entries are accepted live. Remember, if you are watching in our group, not on our Facebook page, not on YouTube, this doesn't apply. If you're watching in the group, you need to grant StreamYard, which is our streaming platform, permission to see your name at streamyard.com/Facebook. And in the comments, I'm seeing almost everybody has their name up there. There's no anonymous Facebook user. So good job to everybody. And what you'll see when you click over to StreamYard.com/Facebook, you'll see this page and it'll say, let StreamYard see your live Facebook live comments. You'll click on that blue box and you'll grant permission. If you don't want to, just watch us on another platform. Watch us on the page or on YouTube and we'll be able to see your name there. Okay. Then finally, here comes the phrase. And even if you enter this phrase in your comments a billion times, it's only going to give you one entry, okay? So you've got to put hashtag in front of this. Hashtag pumpkin in the comments to enter the giveaway. And I'm going to let you do that for a while, and I'll we'll have that up for about the next 10 minutes or so until everybody comments, and then I will run our little timer and we will choose a winner. So let's look at, good, everybody is great. Diane, I can see you. Yes, good job. You're in. Great job, everybody. Good. Everybody, yes, Gerald, you're good. You've got it. Yes, good job. You're all, I've got everybody's name, which is great. Yes, cue the Jeopardy music, right? I love it. So let me go back to this camera here and I'm going to leave the comment thing up. I hope it isn't too distracting for you guys, but that's, yes, and I can see you. I feel like Miss Jane or whoever it is from Romper Room. I can see you, Cindy Brooke. I can see you. Yes, great. And just put hashtag pumpkin, nothing else. So Andy, thank you. I'm glad you like my piece, but only hashtag pumpkin or else it won't read it, I think. I think that's how it goes, but better be safe than sorry. Okay, so let me show you Emily's piece here, and this is going to give you guys some more ideas on this. Okay, so see how Emily, what she did with this, and let me give you the length on this so you know how long this is, right? I haven't even measured mine. I have no idea. I know that I have a long road to travel before this thing is done. But this is about 28 inches that Emily made or so, right? And so she added these medium hoops that we carry here. And I think they add a lot of light to the piece. A lot of, it looks really, I think it's just, it adds a lot of visual interest to it, I think. And it also gave her a place to attach these little dangles. Okay, so you can embellish these little loops. She just did some wire wrapped loops here. This one is a little stitched loop. Can you see that? She just did some 8/0, came through one of our Happy Donut beads, did a picot down at the bottom, and probably weaved back up here. So that's really fun, one of these there. And I wanted to show you where she used the cubes. Look at how nice the cubes look stitched in there. I need to to do that with these cubes here. I think that they look really nice. And see how the 8/0 and the 11/0 just going there. You can see in Emily's 4, just the 4 beads across, those Miyuki pearls look really nice. There, they fit together really nicely. So there's a lot to look at this visually, and you can go to beadshop.com and look at the project map and see all of these little pieces here around. Debbie is asking how I put a bead in the pocket of the piece to hold it out. I'll show you. I haven't closed this yet, so I'll show you. Essentially, all you do is you put a bead in. Okay, so here it is, and you can see how this is kind of open here. I'll grab a bead. I don't know if this is the right size. This might be too big, but you put a bead inside like that, and then you stitch around it. Okay, so you could actually have the bead showing if you wanted to, right? You kind of put it in and you stitch around. I think this probably needs a 6mm just so it holds over. I don't know if oh, hang on. Hold on. I've got a 6mm lapis bead here. Yeah, see that? See that 6mm, how it just sits inside? And then you just stitch over the top of that. So let me do it. Okay. I didn't do it in the other one, so this one will be less floppy, but it doesn't matter. I need to come across. Let me get that down out for a second. So here's my starting point. And this is a thread eater, this project, right? I put in a whole bunch of thread and I'm low again. So let me get this out of the way. Let me get this out of the way. The bead I'm using for the base is the 11-2091. So I will dump a few of these out. Cindy's also asking, can you string a leather cord through it? And yes, you certainly could. This would be a great way to make just little beads like this that string on a cord. That would look delicious. Let me get this a little further down. Okay. And I'm going to put these two on and come down to tap them into place. This is where I could actually put in 4 at a time. I could do that, but I won't. I'm just going to do the 2s. Okay. Now as this starts to close up, that's where I'm going to put this 6/0 in. And I'm going to try and magically hold that inside while I stitch, so the stitching will kind of tighten it up around that. There we go. Turn it. Go up 2. Put my 2 on. Gosh, these 11/0 feel small after. I still see you all entering that giveaway. That's great. Enter that giveaway so you can be entered to win our pumpkin spice mix. I'm going to do that drawing in just a couple of minutes after I finish this go round. So here's this. Hashtag pumpkin in the comments. And that goes. And so now I am right at the point where I began. And so see how this thread comes across, right? And it goes up. And then I can kind of pull my tension a little tighter than I might normally, right? To kind of pull that in. And see, that bead, it's in there. That's not going to go anywhere. Okay. And so you can see, oh, you know what? I did it on this one, but I didn't do it on this one. This one I think has a bead inside it. I think I can see it. Anyway, if you're doing something that really needs the body to it, you can put it in. And regardless, you guys, of how many times you enter, if you type in #pumpkin like 50 times, the program is only going to recognize your name and that hashtag once. So that's it won't give you multiple entries. Okay, you can just keep on typing it, but it'll only give you that one entry. So let me get you a little closer to that. Okay. So I think it's time, you guys. So here's that pumpkin spice mix. We had it back in November of 2020. Has a variety of check glass beads and this button. So let me remove this camera. Let me add this to the stream. We've got 90 entries today. Keep 91. See, if you keep typing. All right, so let me get over here, and in 3, 2, and 1, let's go ahead and see who our winner is gonna be. We're coming down. Coral! You are the winner. Hooray for you. So what you are going to do is you are going to email your mailing information to info@beadshop.com. It's going to get right to Drea. Drea is going to forward it to me, and I am going to send this out as soon as probably today. If you send this over after the broadcast, it'll go right out to you to your mailing address. So congratulations to you, dear Coral. Congrats. That was fun, right? Was that fun? I thought it was fun. Yes, look at that. That's awesome. Yay, yes, and there she is. Yes, you are welcome. You're welcome. Okay, well, kids, that does it for my show today. I hope you enjoyed this little kind of walk back to the herringbone stitch. Now, next week, those of you who have been watching on our, and I'm going to get them underneath here so you can see this, who have been watching on the bead table, you have seen Drea. She was on vacation this past week, and she's been working on some Super Duo samples. Why can't I get my scarf straight? There we go. And we have 2 of her samples that we're going to be doing next week. So let me show this demo cam one more time here. Let me just solo that. Drea has 2 beautiful wraps that we're going to talk about next week. Okay, and so this one here with the herringbone ladder. And you can see she's used some 6/0 and some 8/0 and some Tylas and some shadows on this one, right? Beautiful. And then we've got this colorway here. And so these will be up on the website next week for next week's show. So we're going to talk about, this has the Sylvan Woods mix in it in the Super Duos. And this one I think is the Victorian Elegance mix in this. Okay, and so we're going to delve into those next week. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. I did, whoops, let me put this up here. So next week, actually, I'm going to be out. I'm taking a little bit of time for myself. I'm going to be here on Friday, so we'll do Free Tip Friday. But next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a little experiment. Okay, I'm actually going to pre-record our Facebook Live, so our Beadshop Live broadcast. So it's not going to be a live broadcast, but it'll be in this same format. it'll be broadcast at the same time. Janice will be on moderating comments and everything like that. So I will just be pre-recorded, and I will tell you that I'll be pre-recorded, and we won't do a giveaway. But giveaways will be back on the, I'll tell you, we'll be back on the 11th. And I've got a good one for you for that, right? So next week it's going to be Beadshop not live, but it'll be pre-recorded, and we're going to go over the Herringbone Stitch, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Then I'll be back live on the 11th. I have the actual perfect summer project, because it's still summer. August is still summer. We still got some summer in us. The perfect summer project that you guys are going to love. Okay, but I will see you this Friday for our Free Tip Friday broadcast. And I do want to mention, of course, always you can follow us right on our many social platforms, on Instagram at beadshop.com, on Facebook at The Bead Table, or you can like our Facebook group, both on the Facebook platform. You can also, if you are watching, you can like and subscribe to us right on YouTube. And thank you to those of you who are watching the replay. Join us on a live broadcast so you can be entered to win in one of our live giveaways. Also, for all of the information on the project and products from today's broadcast, you can find them right on our website. Sign up for our newsletter for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. I have a couple of things that are simmering for August, so I think you're going to love it. I also think you're going to love the August monthly mix that I may or may not give you a sneak peek of on Friday. And we really, really, really appreciate all you all being here and supporting our small business, because if it were not for you, we would not be here being able to do what it is that we love. So thank you so much for your support and your business. We appreciate it every minute. So thanks again, everybody. I'll see you on Friday. Have a great day and stay creative all. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.